Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with episode 3 of Clash of the Podcast, where a podcast come together. Hubbard Wrestling Weekly, Sean Hubbard is joining me every week, and we talk all the latest and greatest in pro wrestling. I am Conrad Cushman from Everything Pro Wrestling. You guys know Everything Pro Wrestling is a show by the fans, for the fans. Check us out whenever you guys can. Subscribe to both of our channels. The reason we do this is so that we can get support on Sean's platform and our platform at the same time. So make sure if you're following me, go show him some love. This is my full endorsement of Sean. So help a brother out. Sean, what's good, bro?
Once again, you already know what it is, and you already know where you have reached. The #1 collaborative podcast in the professional wrestling world. This is Everything Pro Wrestling meets Hubbard Wrestling Weekly. This is Clash of the Podcast. We're fired up, and we're in the building for another big show. Not really much going on in the world of wrestling, right? Not really much at all. Actually, it's a lot going on. We're about to get into it right now. Let's get it.
Now, truthfully speaking, there is a lot going on, but I will say this has probably also been like the most quiet it's been since May.
It's probably since May, right.
Yeah, it's been a minute, so there's a lot for us to get into. If you guys are joining us, sit back. We're going to hook you guys up with some great news, and I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section, so let us know. I love it.
Yeah,
I can't help it. That music always brings back some classic old school vibes with WCW versus NWO World Tour. Hopefully you guys are all enjoying that soundtrack. I'm gonna give some shout outs to the people in the chat real quick. Mr. Pro Wrestling 1, I saw you put this in here early. You were in here like an hour early. John L saying hi. Mr. Pro Wrestling 1 back again and throwing up the 2. Sweet. Respect. Rob in the house, and he is on his Buffalo Bills stuff right now. I feel you, bro. Big game tonight here in Buffalo.
I have no problem with the Buffalo Bills. I'm a New York Giant fan. We are 2-0. I have no problem with Buffalo unless we see y'all in the Super Bowl. No, the Giants are not going to the Super Bowl, but let me live with 2-0.
Hey, listen, it's better than what it was. Sick in the house. What's good, Sick?
What up?
What's good? We are going to get into some different topics today.
There's nothing going on in the world of wrestling, bro. There's nothing going on.
Oh yeah, we just all of a sudden got the Crown Jewel main event announced. Like, what is going on? We titled this about Logan Paul because that was the big news from WWE that had dropped. Right now, we know that we've got Logan Paul, Roman Reigns. They are having a match at Crown Jewel. They did a whole press conference to set up for this. I wanted to get your thoughts on that, Sean, and also I wanted to kind of get into some of the words Logan Paul had said in an interview, talking about making WWE a multiverse, and I kind of wanted to have a discussion about celebrities in professional wrestling. And chat, please chime in with your thoughts as well. But kicking it to you, Sean, I guess let's talk the press conference first in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was a big fight feel. They tried to kind of bounce a little energy off of Canelo versus Triple G. Canelo versus Triple G was going to take place only about 4 or 5 hours after this press conference. They set that up strategically. That was a very nice move on WWE's part. You can see the whole photo op with Roman standing face to face with Logan Paul with Triple H in the middle. Triple H doing his Eddie Hearn / Dana White impression by standing in the middle of the two combatants. The match itself, look, I'm gonna tell you like this, and we're gonna get into the Survivor Series news and all this other great news in a little bit later. WWE saved its week by their most recent announcements because WWE almost fell back into a conundrum with this Paul versus Roman Reigns announcement. It's simply a media stunt. I'm all about media stunts as long as it makes sense. But when you have Logan Paul, I mean, you're talking about a pay-per-view main event, and we all know the end result 2 months in advance. So, is that good for professional wrestling? No. Is it good for sports entertainment? Probably. So from a business standpoint, it makes all the sense in the world. From a wrestling purist standpoint, like mine, I'm not really a big fan, but I see why they did it.
Fair point. My apologies too for the cough into the microphone. I thought I was going to be able to catch it, and I couldn't. So, but we're live, pal. So that's what happens. Logan Paul, I will say I did like one thing that they did with this. Somebody asked about his big fight coming up with the Spider, Anderson Silva, and they had brought it up. And what I absolutely loved was they were like, "Oh, well, are you training for your fight with him?" And he was like, "First, I have to deal with Roman Reigns at Crown Jewel." This is the promotion that WWE wants. I don't know what this man's like following is like. I used to work with someone who, or actually it was a she, her daughters loved the Paul family, like Logan Paul, Jake Paul. They were into everything they did. And this was like YouTube time. This is before the boxing stuff was even happening. They love these dudes. Is this going to pay off big dividends, do you think, Sean, for like what they're doing? Because I agree with you. I see both sides of this. If you wanted me to be negative about this, I easily could. Does it make sense from a wrestling perspective? No. Does it feel right that you're telling your roster that Logan Paul is better than all of you? Because what you're doing is once again putting the thumb back down on the rest of your roster. Yeah, you could be negative about that, but you could also see the positives of this. You're bringing way more eyes to your product. You're doing so many more things that that could add to the WWE brand value. And that's what it's turned into, in my opinion. It's turned into this big corporation that they're there to put on an event for you, a spectacle. And that's what they do every time in these big arenas and buildings.
There's certain things WWE can't help. There's certain things Triple H can't help. Triple H can help some things, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes, and he's doing a great job. But there's certain things that Triple H's hands are tied, and one of those things is WWE being an entertainment company. And he cannot deviate but so much, maybe a little bit, but he can't deviate but so much from that entertainment model. And that's what this match is about. It's a situation where you have a mega star from a social media standpoint coming into your world. You put him over at WrestleMania, which is fine. Miz is a true professional. Salute to Miz. And now you set him up for this title match. Now, here's the thing about Crown Jewel. Crown Jewel has sort of become like the de facto, not really pay-per-view, even though it is a pay-per-view kind of deal where people are like, okay, nothing really of significance is going to happen at Crown Jewel. At least we don't think so. None of us thought that Brock would win at Crown Jewel last year. And that's because it was at Crown Jewel. It wasn't because Brock wasn't capable. Now, in this case, you have Paul, who's definitely not championship level, right? And he's going into a championship match. This is strictly for entertainment value. This is strictly to get more eyes on the product. And for that, I salute WWE. But the wrestling purist in me has major issues. Obviously, Roman's going to win. They're going to make Logan Paul look as good as he possibly can, and we'll just see where it goes. It's not a wrestling move. It's an entertainment move.
Right. Looks like so. Sick is coming in saying, "Bro, I must be aging out of wrestling because WTF is a Logan Paul. Why is he getting a title shot so soon over someone backstage who was more deserving? I don't know. Maybe it's not for me to understand."
Right.
He also put, but what do I know? I've only been a wrestling fan all my life. LOL. My first exposure to Logan Paul was when he fought Floyd Mayweather, and we all know that was one big publicity stunt. It is an embarrassment for all martial arts, in my opinion. Just a cash grab.
It is. It is a cash grab. No argument there.
Yeah, that's exactly what they want it to be. Mr. Pro Wrestling One says, "Yeah, not a fan of the Paul brothers."
Well, look, let me give you my businessman perspective. I keep using the same phrase, wrestling purist, and that's what I am. Before you and I became journalists, Conrad, we were fans, right? So from a wrestling purist standpoint, I'm not a big fan either. But listen, the Pauls, you can't knock them for what they've done. I mean, they have pretty much made names for themselves from obscurity. They started off doing little skits on, I think it was Vine, when Vine was popping for those 2 seconds. And then it obviously translated over to YouTube. And somehow he's standing toe-to-toe in the middle of the ring with Floyd Mayweather. And, his brother's fighting Anderson Silva. And now he's the main event of a WWE pay-per-view. You can't knock them for their business acumen. You can't knock them for making a name for themselves. What you knock them, see, this is where I would have an issue. If I were Jake Paul, and I know you may say, yeah, Sean, whatever, but I'm being genuine when I say this. If I were Jake Paul, there's no way I would enter the WWE and accept a main event pay-per-view match in my third match. I just would not allow that to happen. I would give it to the powers that be in the way that I would want them to understand how I feel about the business, which is I have far too much respect for the business and the guys who bust their tails here every single day to accept a title match. I'm not worthy of a title match. My name's not David Arquette.
I wonder if a lot of that's been lost too in in the industry now that we love pro wrestling, bro, but it's not like it used to be where they were trying to make it feel real. Let's put the respect behind it. Let's do XYZ. Yeah, so I think that's changed it. What's going on, Sonny? Sonny is letting us know. He said, "Hi guys, I'm a day trader, and I do believe the Pauls have a sizable investment in WWE. So as to brand value, this card is good for the shareholders." Boom. And wrestling feels so weird to talk about, like with like business talk and everything that's in it. The main thing I want to know is, chat, like, is WWE becoming, so when he said that multiverse, this is how I took it. He made that comment like WWE should become this multiverse. Are we getting to the stage of where celebrities are going to be involved more frequently with all of this? That, this week it's going to be Shakira's on Monday Night Raw and she's going to wrestle Sasha Banks. Like, is that where we're heading to in pro wrestling to sell tickets? And is that what WWE is trying to do to expand globally? In your opinion, Sean?
Probably, but the problem is that I'm old school, and to me, I don't like to put a glass ceiling on celebrities, because when I become famous, I wouldn't want there to be a situation when you or I would not be able to have the opportunity to go into a WWE or AEW and enjoy that firsthand that we've been watching on television or observing as journalists all this time. But the problem for me is this. To me, back in the day when we were like 0 years old, Bob Uecker being at WrestleMania, that made sense for the purpose that he served. Vanna White being at WrestleMania, that served the point for the purpose it served. It should be where celebrities come in and make an impact in their own way. Having Jake Paul wrestle for the most coveted title in the industry is not respectful to the industry. It's just not. It's something that should not happen. And I'm not taking away Jake Paul's true love for the industry. I think Jake Paul loves wrestling. I don't think he'd be doing it if he didn't love it. I don't think that Bad Bunny would do it if he didn't love it. Salute to both of them. I think they're tremendous athletes. They take it seriously. But you got to take your personal agenda and your personal desire out of the way. And you got to say, hey, listen, you know what? I would love to host WrestleMania. I would love to be in somebody's corner. I would like to hit somebody in the back with a chair. But I'm not going to main event a pay-per-view for the WWE Championship. It's not respectful.
Yeah, I wonder if the Miz match gassed a lot of people up for him. Like, hey, he can do a lot of different things for us. I mean, the brother's athletic. You can't deny that. He's a boxer. I mean, his conditioning is out of this world. Has to be.
And it's clear that he works hard. I'm not mad at him.
And I guess, Sean, let me ask you this: top three, same for the chat. Top three celebrity involvements in pro wrestling right now, like that of all time. Excuse me. Like right now, who would be your top three off the top of your head that you're like, I loved when the celebrity came in and it just worked for me. I loved it.
Top three celebrities all time in any capacity?
Any capacity. Like where you felt this worked.
Okay, well, I think the Pete Rose gimmick at 3 straight WrestleManias was awesome. I thought that was tremendously funny. The interaction with Kane was absolutely outstanding and tremendously funny. I think that took place at 14, 15, and 16 or 2000. So that worked. Oh man, I'm old school. I like Bob Uecker at WrestleMania 3 and 4. I not obviously he was just a ring announcer, but not just so. He had this really funny interaction with Jesse the Body Ventura and Gorilla Monsoon in the broadcast booth. So I enjoyed that. And I mean, what else? Mike Tyson. And Mike Tyson changed the game with his appearance as well. So those would be a 3. Bob Uecker, Mike Tyson, and who did I say? Bob Uecker, Mike Tyson, and I just lost it that fast.
Pete Rose.
And Pete Rose, yes.
I feel very similar to you. The Tyson one is my number 1. I will never forget when I was like, wait, Mike Tyson, who's suspended from boxing, is going to be at WrestleMania, right, and he's doing horrible crotch chops. It was clear as day that Mike Tyson was just there to have fun, and he was having a ball. You could just tell. And it was a crazy time to be a wrestling fan. But to me, that's what pushed them over the edge, I think, over WCW, when they had someone who was outlawed from boxing at that time being, and they made that such a big deal for a fight at WrestleMania. And you even had the Tyson and Austin square off and everything else. It worked. I actually love Floyd Mayweather coming into face the Big Show. I thought that was a tremendous matchup, even though that was supposed to be a tag match. A lot of people don't know that. With I think Oscar De La Hoya was going to team up with Rey Mysterio.
Oh, okay.
The original plans, absolutely insane. But Floyd Mayweather, I thought, did a darn good job. And I feel like they get the celebrities wrong. So listen, he's not going to be booed. Jake Paul, I'm back on to. He's not going to be booed when it comes to the reaction at Crown Jewel. He wasn't booed because he went up against Miz at SummerSlam. The moment this man goes against someone else, they are going to flip the script. I wouldn't be surprised if people would cheer Roman if this was in the States.
Oh, sure.
I really believe that. And I don't know, it may happen over there too. We don't know for sure. And my number 3, I'd probably go with any of the one shots. I'd probably go with Pete Rose too, just because I love that gimmick, how they pulled that off. I want to show the chat some love. Deanna agrees with you. She said it wouldn't be a bad idea to have him accept a match for someone else. I think WWE's big things for Logan Paul, or sees big things for Logan Paul, excuse me. I think they may want to try and make him the next Rock. Think this is his sink or swim moment. I don't know, Montana. He's going to be fine no matter what. WWE needs him more. This is the weird thing. It used to be you needed WWE more than they needed you. Now it's they need you more than you need them. Mm-hmm. So they got to play their cards right. Terrell said, sorry, I'm late. Don't be sorry that you're late, brother. I'm glad that you're here. Might be a crazy theory. What if Paul's multiverse thing is a prequel to WWE versus AEW 2024 event? NBC and Warner Bros. Might be merging, I hear. Yeah, there's a lot that has to go into that, especially the antitrust laws. I don't want to get all political on here with you guys, but there's a lot that has to happen amongst a lot of people. I may not like Logan, but he's bringing eyes on to WWE. 6 that I saw his fight against Mayweather, and we can all agree that Floyd could have knocked that young man out anytime he wanted to. He was bragging about surviving that fight. Who does that? Let's see here. Roman versus Logan Paul. It's not fair to the wrestlers on the roster, just like David Arquette once again being brought up. Tyson, Pete Rose. We got Mike Tyson, Pete Rose, and Arnold, the Terminator. I did like Arnold at that SummerSlam in '99. That was dope. Bad Bunny, Logan Paul.
I got a comment on this one.
You got a comment on this one?
Yeah. Finish, bro. Finish.
Oh, and LT at WrestleMania 11. Was that the one with Salt and Pepper when they did the song when he came out? I ordered that bad boy. What a horrible mania. That's my least favorite mania of all time, by the way.
Here's my thing. Montana, you have every right to your opinion. I salute you for having your opinion. Nobody should ever knock your opinion. But let me tell you something. That's exactly
the better line too. I missed that.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Lawrence Taylor, and I'm a Giant fan. I have the utmost respect for Lawrence Taylor as a football player. He brought my team 2 championships. One when I was 0 years old and one when I was 4. So I salute Lawrence Taylor. But that was the most disrespectful display I've ever seen. You were the main event of WrestleMania in your one and only match, while Shawn Michaels, the winner of the Royal Rumble, and Diesel are the co-main event. WWE should be ashamed of themselves for that. That's a perfect example. LT at WrestleMania 11, that's a perfect example of not, and I don't blame LT, but so much because LT probably didn't understand. LT wanted the payday. LT wanted the exposure. But if LT had any knowledge of the business whatsoever, he wouldn't have accepted that. I'm not main eventing WrestleMania. I don't deserve it.
Bro, but I think WWE, that's what they're paying for, though. They were on Sports Center back then. That did not happen, bro. Like, I remember the shove. I think it was at the Royal Rumble, right? Correct me if I'm wrong on any of this.
95, yep.
They were in the tag title finals. Bam Bam was outside, and LT like laughed at him when he missed the spot or he fell or something. And he got up and shoved him. And then LT's people had to grab him and pull him back, and that was on SportsCenter. I thought they did a great job building it up. Honestly, I don't even hate WrestleMania 11 for the Lawrence Taylor match. I thought that was one of the brighter spots of the show.
Let me ask you a question, my brother. Everything that happened first of all, WrestleMania 11 was a really rough show. That's number one. But
worst of all time, we can
worst
debate.
Worst of all time. There's some debate about that, but it's definitely in the bottom 3 of WrestleManias to ever happen. Now, here's my question to you: you take that same card and you switch HBK Kevin Nash with LT Bam Bam. Is there any problem with that in your mind? Does the build-up become any less?
It doesn't change.
You bring out Salt and Pepper. You bring out all the NFL guys. You bring out Reggie White, God rest his soul. Everything's the same. Right. And think about it. Diesel won the match, even though he shouldn't have, right? Diesel won the match. So you can still have that, Nicholas Turturro, Pamela. Right, exactly. That same Nicholas Turturro, Pamela Anderson, Jenny McCarthy celebration with the fireworks as the show goes off the air. No problem. But you have LT. And the fact that they called that move that he pulled on Bam Bam an actual jackknife, that was the worst. That wasn't a power bomb. That was like, I don't even know. It was terrible. But my point is to stay on track. You got to respect the industry, man. You got to respect. I'm like I said, when you and I become famous, when you and I become the biggest podcasters in the world, and WWE and AEW invite us to their shows, and they say, hey, would you like to be a part of the show? And we say yes. You know what I'm going to do? I'm gonna say, listen, you know what I want you guys to train me in? I want you to train me to do one move. I want to do a double axe handle off the top rope. I want it to be safe, but I want people to be excited. I'm gonna jump off the top rope, do one move, cost somebody a match. I'm not gonna be in the main event of All Out. I'm not gonna be in the main event of WrestleMania.
I gotta see what the contract says first, brother. I mean, there's a number that we could. If you say you're gonna end this college debt for me, baby, we could talk. We could talk.
I hear you.
Rob says for his appearances, he picked Mike Tyson, Cyndi Lauper, and Betty White, and I think that was just.
She was funny.
Stephen Amell was great in ring. I actually like his show on Stars too. Highly recommend that. I think season 2 is coming up soon. Logan Paul, Floyd Mayweather can't be mad. Six says, not saying that he hasn't taken a wrestling like a fish to water, but to say he deserves a title shot so fast. If Roman doesn't squash this dude in 5 seconds, it's going to take me out of it. I don't think they're going to let that happen, though. He's too big.
Squash.
Shout out to Joel in the house.
Hello, Joel. What up?
Let me see here. Speaking of the Giants, I actually have them winning the Super Bowl. Do you both agree? No. I'm definitely not agreeing to that.
I'm a Giant fan my whole life. My father's a Giant fan. My grandfather was, God rest his soul, a Giant fan. The Giants are 2-0. We are living our Super Bowl right now. We are not winning the Super Bowl. But I'm happy we're 2-0.
I love the realism. Shout out to the Bills who are playing later on. Wasn't a fan of getting the main event, but a big moment. Joel said WrestleMania 11 was in Hartford, right?
It was. Oh, my God. The worst event in Connecticut history.
It was so bad, dude.
Oh, my God.
That was the one show I wish my dad could have got his money back. He probably was like, don't ever ask me to order this trash.
Oh, my God. If that's the pay-per-view that you're trying to convince your parents that you should order pay-per-view, oh, my God.
Jacob and Eli Blue in the opening match against Lex Luger in the British Bulldog.
That pay-per-view was awful. Holy crap.
That was the opening match, and you knew it was bad. Matt Lopez has joined us. What is good, Matt?
No, what's going on,
Mr. Pro Wrestling, excuse me, is laughing at WrestleMania 11. WrestleMania 11, 100% was a decent show. Should have had the title match close the show. I don't know. Sean was acting a fool in that match too. Now that I look back at it, listening to Nash, like he was definitely setting him up. Yes, I'll be cheering for the Bills. All right. I'm gonna remember this. If Giants and Steelers happen, I'm gonna give you full credit, Terrell.
If Giants and Steelers happen, I'll be the first to say it. I'm glad. Listen, your mouth to God's ears, brother.
Yep. Joel says he's a Giants fan, but he's rooting for the Bills. Josh Allen is a beast. Here's the thing. I'm okay with Crown Jewel, Matt Lopez says, having this match. It should be fun. It will be fun knowing what we are getting for Survivor Series. More on that momentarily. Stick around. WrestleMania was okay, but had much higher potential given the talent on the card in the WWE at the time.
You know what I think we got to do, man? We got to stay on course tonight, my brother. I know you're the king of staying on course. That's why I love you. You're my brother. You're so respected. But it's clear we need to do a WrestleMania 11 review at some point. I mean, come on, man.
I'm gonna need some donations from the chat or something for that.
It doesn't have to be. Listen, all reviews are not good.
You're asking for torture, though. This is like leading me down to the dungeon.
Do you understand that could be the most entertaining show in the history of EPW, HWW, or Clash of the Podcast? The way we talk about that show?
Maybe we'll give you guys some options during WrestleMania season for some reviews.
Hey, look, Joel agrees.
Joel, I'm gonna need to see the company credit card for this.
Listen, guys, we'll talk off the air, man. I'll talk them into it.
He said, "I'm down, Kyron and Sean." Joel may have to come on and do it with us then. If you're signing me up for some bad stuff, all right. Sounding like my boy Jesus, who comes in here often, trying to get me to do Raw reviews again. Conrad will do a WrestleMania 11 review when he does another Raw review. I told you guys got banned from your suggestions for that. So we got that big matchup coming up. Now we're going to shift focus for a second. We're going to talk a little Grand Slam. AEW's got their Grand Slam Tournament of Champions coming up.
Oh, baby.
For our friends international, you can watch it live on Fight. So make sure that you guys have that taken care of.
A big shout out to Fight TV. I have a major Fight TV announcement coming up before we go off the air tonight.
Okay. Good. Another good reason to stick around. But we got Moxley and Danielson for the championship, Sean. Tournament finals. Some people don't like tournaments. I like tournaments. We've gotten a lot this year from AEW due to injuries and whatnot. What are you thinking going into this Grand Slam show? Because it's a big show for New York. I love that it's in Arthur Ashe. That is a tennis stadium, people. Like, do you realize that no other events have ever been held there? I don't think people realize the magnitude of Tony Khan doing that last year. And this is a big show for them every year. This is like a pay-per-view Dynamite that you're getting.
Listen, I'm going to say something that's going to break a lot of hearts, including my own. You can't have Bryan Danielson win the world title. You can't. And I'm going to tell you why. There's nobody in the industry that deserves this more than Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson should win. He probably will win. And when he wins, I'll be happy for him. But Bryan Danielson is so injury prone. And the last thing that AEW needs is another vacancy in a championship, bro. Like, that's the last thing they need. Like, in this time frame of all this controversy in AEW, CM Punk's gone down twice. You have the women's title as the interim title right now. All the drama and the back and forth and the injuries. If Bryan Danielson can stay healthy, he's the undoubted next champion, and he probably will be anyway. And I love the main event, and it's gonna be amazing. But man, I'm so nervous because if he takes one bad spill and we see that title vacated again, oh man, I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
So I kind of want them to call for an audible. Matt Lopez says he's going to be in the house, and so is Joel. He's also going to be at Dynamite. Can't wait. So yeah, you guys definitely enjoy that show. All right. So I'm conflicted on this as well because I feel like I was at the Buffalo show where Moxley and MJF kind of got set up, and Moxley cut that great promo. MJF disrespected Josh Allen. We're gonna take that out of this right now, though. And when looking at it, that seems like the direction where they're going. But something in my heart wants a new champion. It's not that I don't want Moxley to be champion. I don't want Moxley to be champion and drop this belt so quickly.
My brother, I'm not disagreeing with you. You heard everything I said, right?
No. That's not it. I'm wrenching my heart with the decision making of this because you have to balance both sides with this. Can Moxley afford to lose another? So let's look at it from Moxley's perspective. You brought up the good parts with Danielson. Can Moxley afford to lose another match that quickly? Like if they're dropping this belt right away to MJF, because we don't know how this poker chip works, number one. Right. Is it Money in the Bank? Can he do it whenever he wants? Is it like he has to give a week notice? I would hope that's how it is. I prefer that personally. It makes more sense from the rest of the promoter standpoint. I don't know. I don't know if I want Moxley to lose that quickly, because now are you hurting his star power for something else?
I agree. Mox probably shouldn't have another loss, but Brian Danielson is the clear-cut choice. I mean, and we're all kind of like ignoring the elephant in the room. You know, obviously Matt Lopez is not ignoring the elephant in the room, and neither is Montana. We all know that, and you're not either, Conrad. The elephant in the room is obviously MJF, but I'm just thinking about MJF not being a factor. I may be fooling myself, right? But let's just assume he's not a factor. Bryan Danielson should win this match. Can you afford to trust him with the title? Can he trust his body? And to answer your question, Moxley losing this match, I don't think this is like a squash match for him. I'm using the word squash inappropriately. I don't think this is a match that takes him down the ladder. I think if he loses this match, it sets up a nice situation where you don't know what's going to happen with the Combat Club. You don't know what the dynamic's going to be moving forward. There's a lot of opportunity there. All I want is for there to be a definitive world champion. And the problem with what you're saying, and the problem with what I'm saying, and the problem with everybody else is saying, is that the winner of this match, can we be confident that they're going to carry the title in a way that can eliminate and dissipate the drama that's been going on surrounding the title for the past 3 months?
That's a good point. And Joel asked a great question. Do you think MJF leaves Arthur Ashe with the title? He is a New York person. And the question is, what is MJF supposed to be going forward? Is he going to be a babyface or is he going to be a heel? I know right now the plan is to keep him heel, but Jericho seems to think this man is destined to be a babyface eventually. And I kind of agree with Jericho. I'm starting to see more and more people wearing those scarves to the AEW shows. I've been to 3 so far, and the scarves at the Buffalo one were just insane how many people had them on. Now,
Boost Mobile's back in the building, by the way.
Yeah, shout out to Boost Mobile. I had his comment up there. I don't know, Sean. He could win it in Arthur Ashe. There's no bigger place, or do you save it for the Prudential Center? Supposedly for Full Gear, or no, that's not supposedly. That's happening. That's confirmed.
I don't know, man. Like I said, and I'm sure you're a witness to this. I'm never at a loss for words when it comes to stuff like this. I'm really at a loss. I don't know. When you ask me who should win that match, when you ask me who's better for business as far as who should win this match, I honestly don't know. I don't trust Bryan Danielson's body, as much as I love him as a pro wrestler. I don't trust the idea of making Moxley a 3-time champion, because it's like, you know, it takes away the luster of the title. Like, okay, now it's going to be 3 times, 4 times, 5. Are we going to start going down that road where people lose the title willy-nilly? I don't know. I mean, it's a rough one. I don't know who wins this match, and I think there's definite good parts about whoever could win, and I think there's some really, really big bad parts. There's a lot of dark clouds over who could be the winner of this match, because people can start people. You don't understand, bro. Wrestling fans are fickle. We are fickle. Bro, all of a sudden, Moxley can start getting booed because of this.
I was just going to say this. Not only did you mention the fickle part, here's one thing that I've been having an issue with within the wrestling community. Please stop trying to book your own angles before anything's even that bad. Like, sometimes people book themselves into disappointment. Like, I saw somebody with the Punk Moxley match at All Out. They were like, I swear if Moxley doesn't win, I'm done with AEW. I'm like, bro, you're about to be done with AEW, and I'm here to let you know. Like, don't do that to yourself. Like, don't say, that's like saying, like, oh, if Roman Reigns beats Logan Paul, I'm done with WWE. Well, you're about to be done with WWE, bro, because it ain't happening.
Right.
And we've been watching long enough that we could probably tell you. And there are moments where we have our doubts. We're not too sure. If you told us to book it the other way, could we? Of course. But when you start putting those types of statements on things, and then you go on Twitter and you just want to be nasty about it, come on, bro. It's not necessary.
Right.
It's not necessary. AEW's in quite a predicament right now. They have a lot. Number one, WWE's breathing down the back of their necks. They're right there on them. They're on their mind. You also have your own in-house issues on the other side of your mind. You have a lot to correct right now, and I think that's what Arthur Ashe needs to be, a feel-good show for people who are AEW fans. Boom. Oh, cheap pop right there. He just got out of me. He just did the scissor motion for those listening on the audio version. I feel Mox and MJF doesn't need the championship. Agreed. Not a Mox fan, but he's the right call. I also want a new champ. Hangman should have never lost. I'm going to disagree with that, but sure. I think all the titles except the TBS championship will change hands. Question for Hubbard. Since I've asked this of Kyron and Derek, will Jade break Goldberg and Asuka's record?
She'll break. Go ahead. I'll finish.
No, I've answered it already. He's asked us before.
So here's my thing. She'll break it if they bulk it up like they did with Goldberg's record. You got to understand, Goldberg's record was massively inflated. 173-0 was a joke. It probably was more like 60 or 70-0. But to answer your question, do I think that Jade will break the record? I'll say yes, because I don't see anybody in AEW that can beat her other than maybe Britt Baker, possibly. But I think they're making the TBS championship a second-tier title behind the women's championship. And I think that they're to make the title mean something, that streak has to be attached to it. So I'll say yes.
I think Jamie Hayter is going to be the one. I don't think she's going to make it that far. I think she gets to almost 50 or really close. Jamie Hayter's one, and I think you could even build up Serena Deeb if you wanted a feel-good story for it.
Okay,
but those are just my predictions. Maybe Tony's not feeling them. Sean, I'm going to let you pick the next topic here. We can either get into your last topic or the two that we've added really quick. Your choice.
No, let's get to the ones we added because that's breaking news, man. I think the people want to hear about it.
All right. First, let's talk about this NXT here. Yeah, I didn't make this picture for the record. Shout out to whoever did. But we've got the older version of DX here. They brought back NXT. It's not the black and gold. It's the white and gold. Sean, is this a symbol of hope for you for the farm system moving forward, or is this like yes, we're back to black and gold? Like, what are your thoughts on getting rid of the colorful splash and the Wale music? It's gone, man. It's gone.
Triple H has managed to put the genie back in the bottle for a couple of things. We're going to talk about one of those things coming up next. But you don't always get that luxury. What do I mean by that? NXT going back to gold is a really cool concept. It looks good on paper because everybody's talking about black and gold, black and gold, black and gold. But the problem is black and gold was symbolic of something. Black and gold wasn't just because the brand colors were black and gold. Black and gold was the Undisputed Era. Black and gold was, Gargano. Black and gold was Ciampa. Black and gold was Sasha Banks and Bayley. That's what black and gold was. Now, you're going to have a lot of difficulty in being able to replenish and renew that kind of energy in NXT, especially with how bad 2.0 has been. And I know a lot of people will disagree with me on this, but I'm not a big fan of Braun Breaker either. I know a lot of people disagree. I know you disagree, bro. But at the end of the day, yes, it's nice to see that the symbolic gesture of bringing back the gold to the NXT brand is, we're trying to do away with the 2.0 stuff. That's cool. Symbolically, it means a lot. Symbolically, we appreciate it. But to get that genie back in the bottle, a lot of those guys no longer work for the company. A lot of those guys have gone up to the main roster. Are you going to be able to get those guys that are down in NXT on the? I mean, somebody that we don't talk about that often because of obvious reasons, but I'm going to bring his name up right now strictly from a wrestling standpoint. There's no more Velveteen Dream. There's a lot of guys that are really good that are no longer around. So, really good, I mean, from a wrestling standpoint. Can you get that kind of effort out of Carmelo Hayes? Yes. Can you get that effort out of somebody like, I don't even know her name, the girl who dresses up like she sleep all the time in her pajamas?
Oh, Wendy.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, come on, bro. So it's all about whether you can get those type of talents back. And right now, last I heard, Adam Cole's in AEW, Johnny Gargano and Ciampa up on Raw. It's going to be difficult to duplicate that.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. But I'll say this. I'm going to be honest with you guys. My NXT, like my favorite era, was the 1 hour WWE Network version of it. That I loved it. That was when it was my favorite. My peak fandom was probably that whole whodunit storyline where they were trying to figure out who attacked Aleister Black in the parking lot because no one is safe in the NXT parking lot apparently. And then you find out that it was Johnny Gargano that did it. And you're like, wait, is he a heel? But he wasn't a heel. He just did what he had to do because he wanted people to take him serious or whatever. Wonderful. That was.
I got to disagree with you. I thought it was awesome, but I think when NXT had that short run, it was extremely short, where NXT was considered a third brand and no longer developmental. Like when Finn Balor went back down to NXT, that's the time where I think it was a 2-hour show. That's when NXT, in my mind, was at its peak, when it became a third brand.
I disagree because was it ever? See, they go back and forth. Was it a third brand or was it developmental? They never knew.
Didn't NXT win the Survivor Series?
They did, but they never knew. They never had an established identity through the eyes of the CEO. If that makes any sense. Vince McMahon at the time, there was never. What is NXT to you, bro? He made it established. He knew he liked Keith Lee and them. He knew who he wanted to cherry pick, but he never knew what NXT was. He knew who we liked from NXT. And I just never understood why none of this worked out, why none of it happened. I don't know. I don't get paid for thinking, I guess, when it comes to NXT.
You do get paid for thinking. You know what you're talking about, and so do I. The bottom line is this. At the end of the day, whether it's a 2-hour Finn Balor going back version or the 1 hour Rusev and Seth Rollins version and Bayley and Sasha version, can they duplicate that in 2022? I don't see the roster down there that would be able to pull that off.
We don't see it. Maybe it's there, but listen, we don't even know where Gable Steveson is. Like, where is this dude? Where is this guy right now? And what's happening with him? They've got work to do, in my opinion. I don't think it'll ever be the same black and gold that I love, Sean loves. That's where I was going with it. I don't know if it'll ever be that same version of NXT again. All we can do is try to hope, watch, and if you enjoy it, watch it, and if you don't like it, feel free to turn it off. That's what I did with NXT 2.0 oftentimes. I can't lie to you guys. Like there will be weeks where
it's going to take a lot more than slapping a coat of gold paint on the show to make it better again.
I agree. Let me see here. Stay out of that parking lot. Parking lots are never safe. Remember Stone Cold, the hit and run? I'm mad you put, I didn't even realize what that was after VKM picked and destroyed the stars of NXT. That is not a lie. I don't think Vince ever really watched NXT until he took it from Triple H. He knew, though, in the Royal Rumble and Survivor, he knew he wanted Keith Lee. I could tell. Like, it was bad. He was like, yes, this is the guy. But he didn't know what Keith Lee was about. And I'm going to let Sean take over this portion of it here, too. We got an announcement today. Triple H has finally said, yo, Survivor Series ain't gonna be all this red versus blue stuff. I know the logo looks like it, but nah, it's gonna be War Games is back, baby. We're making this thing personal again. We're getting one women's and one men's War Games matches. I like it.
Thanksgiving Eve, 1991. Hulk Hogan versus The Undertaker for the WWE Championship. I didn't know it at the time. As a 5-year-old kid, when Undertaker won, I didn't think it was a good thing. It turned out to be an amazing thing, hindsight being 2020. Survivor Series meant something. Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels won at Survivor Series. Then the one that we all remember, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels 2 at Survivor Series. The 1998, championship tournament where The Rock became champion.
Deadly Games.
2000, when Austin got his revenge on Triple H. I mean, the list goes on. 2004, when Evolution wasn't a team, and the other team with Edge and Snitsky and all these other guys, if the other team won, they got to be Raw general manager for a night.
Shout out to Maven.
Survivor Series hasn't meant anything in a long time, bro. And finally, we can get excited about Thanksgiving week. Thanksgiving week, not Eve, or it's not the night of or Eve anymore, but Thanksgiving week, we can finally get excited about wrestling again because the Survivor Series once again means something. Thank you, Triple H. Thank you, because finally wrestling has made it so. Finally, Triple H has made it so where Survivor Series has reclaimed its spot as a Big Four pay-per-view.
I like it. There's nothing more to say than that, bro. Like he made a very wise move, I think, here with bringing back the cage. Now, do you like the cage being open? Or are you like so old school that you're like, you got to put a top on that thing? Come on now.
I don't mind putting the cage, putting the lid on the cage is dope, but like either way, it's fine.
Okay.
Because you can do spots off the top of the cage if the cage is open.
Yeah, I think people are too high flyers now where you're like, someone got to jump off this thing. Minus AEW, they got the cage matches from like WrestleMania 2000 where I'm like, bro, what are you doing, man? We got a bunch of people in the chat giving their opinions. First, shout out to BJ. Thank you. If you guys listen to Everything Pro Wrestling audio version, BJ gives us a rundown of the top 10 news stories and his predictions every week on Everything Pro Wrestling. So make sure you guys are checking out the audio version on your Fridays before SmackDown and Rampage. Favorite Survivor Series is 2000. Stone Cold flipping Triple H in the car off the forklift. That ending was epic, Terrell said. Marcus, Devil May Cry, says, I love WWE, but I am waiting for the other shoe to fall. Okay. Wonder if this replaces the classic Survivor Series matches. Yo, by the way, that Survivor Series Sean talked about, I think me and Sean have at least 2 Survivor Series retro reviews on his side of things. So definitely worth checking it out. We talk about the Ashes and the Undertaker and all that. We get to, I think we even did this Tuesday in Texas too. So make sure you guys are checking that out. Really good stuff from us. I asked earlier on Twitter, we need the old names back, don't we? I miss like the Teamsters, Shawn Michaels, Diesel. Like bring back those names. I miss them.
The Natural Disasters was a Survivor Series team, and of course the Hulkamaniacs, King's Court.
Yeah, like, do you have a favorite team of all time? Like,
oh my god, let me tell you something. You said the first team you said was my favorite Survivor Series team ever. You want to talk about a team full of stars? The Teamsters from 1994. Diesel, who was on the verge of becoming champion about a week later in Madison Square Garden. Shawn Michaels, Owen Hart, Jim Neidhart, and Double J. That team was awesome.
It was great. It was great.
What about you? Who's your favorite Survivor Series team?
Oh, man. I think if you ask me just from a look standpoint, I did love Hogan, Jake the Snake, and Demolition, but I think I may have to even go with Warrior, Tornado, and LOD. They were so dope, bro. Like the face paint. Imagine if they had all of them come out with the face paint. They could have did so much dope stuff with the shoulder pads. Oh, I wish I could have.
You like the Ultimate Warriors, plural? Like the Ultimate Warriors?
That was nice.
By the way, how creative.
Hold on. That team was better than Jim Neidhart and the Rockers with Warrior. Let's be honest.
I'm not. Okay, let me ask you this. If you replace, because Brett was on Hacksaw's team that night. I know what you're talking about. If you replace Brett with Brett with the Anvil, if you switch places, that team gets.
Oh yeah, that's a fire team. Anvil, that's a fire team right there. He's like,
but to your point, because it was the Anvil, you're right. It wasn't that.
Right. BJ put Doink in the Dink.
Wow. Oh my god.
That was. We got a question. Should WWE bring back King of the Ring? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Dude, if I'm WWE, I am flipping this whole pay-per-view schedule. We could go through it real quick. January, Royal Rumble. February, if you're going to call it something, that's where you're going to do the chamber, but I would call it Super Brawl. I would change something. You own these names, bro. Just switch it.
Okay.
Then you build up to WrestleMania, or you can call it Roadblock or Road Rash, whatever you want to call that.
Fastlane is cool for March.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. And then WrestleMania. Boom. After WrestleMania, we got to have Backlash, in my opinion.
Me too.
May, Judgment Day. You got to keep the Judgment Day name. June, bring back King of the Ring. Put that in there. Winner gets a shot at SummerSlam. Then you're building someone up for it. July, that's where we can argue. I guess Money in the Bank, because that's the popular one. I kind of like that one.
To me, I get pissed because you don't have to have a match be the name of the pay-per-view. I'd call it Bash at the Beach and have a Money in the Bank ladder match at Bash at the Beach.
Okay. All right. I like that. I can see someone going right into a pile of sand right off that ladder.
Let's go.
SummerSlam still should be in there. And then when you get to September, I don't know what's the maybe you could do like a breakdown. I don't know. You could maybe that could be Crown Jewel for you, whatever you want it to be. October, Halloween Havoc, it writes itself. And you ain't getting none of that stuff, bro.
And again, Halloween Havoc and Hell in a Cell can be a match at Halloween Havoc.
Bro, then you got Survivor Series War Games. You can even do Fall Brawl for that one, but there's no War Games match. Then you got Survivor Series, they get War Games, and then guess what? Guess what December's gonna be? Ain't not TLC, Starrcade. That's it. Done. End of the year. That's how you end it, bro. What is so hard about this? WWE, we just did that in what? 3 minutes. Hire us. It's not that hard.
It's not.
Tell me if I'm crazy. Tell me if I said anything that was super trash in there. I mean, like, you unbelievable. You can't do that. Come on.
Makes all the sense in the world to me.
Let me see here. Boost Mobile said, Kyra, you mentioned Gable Stevenson. He's currently exploring to return to the Gophers for wrestling in 2023. That is not good if you're WWE. That's
not good news. Wow. Thanks for the scoop, Boost Mobile.
Marcus Devil May Cry said Bloodline versus Kevin Owens, Drew, Braun, and maybe Cross in War.
No, Braun Strowman. Do you guys notice already? We talked about this last week. Braun Strowman's buzz is already starting to go down. You notice that, right? Because Braun Strowman sucks. Do not be fooled by the comeback. Everybody gets a big pop when they come back. I told you, take my glasses off. I told you guys last week, the coach, Jonathan Coachman, got a big pop when he came back a couple years ago. That's the only reason. Braun Strowman is trash.
Moving through this as quickly as possible.
And don't you ignore me, Conrad. Don't you dare ignore me. I don't care how long we've been friends. You do not ignore me, okay? I'm sick and tired of this crap. Every time I say that, you put your head down and act like I didn't say anything. I acknowledge what I just said. Acknowledge what I just said. Don't you dare ignore me. Don't you disrespect me like that. We've been friends and we've been doing this thing for far too long for you to disrespect Braun Strowman stinks. Say it. Say it.
They've been playing the White Rabbit song in the arenas. Maybe they can salvage this with Eric Redbeard.
You take a stand one way or another. Either you say he stinks or you say he doesn't. You take a stand right now.
He stinks, bro. Moving on. Yes. Rob's in here saying the Headbangers, D'Lo and Godfather. They came out dressed like that. That's a classic. Someone said bring back No Way Out for February. If you know what, if you're going to do the chamber, that might be a better name. I miss Super Brawl, though. Like, we could use that for something, people. No Way Out as that chamber pay-per-view. Okay. Give me Armageddon in December. Just make Extreme Rules TLC event merge. Nah. Make those matches matter. That's what I say.
I did like well, there was only like 1 or 2 Armageddon, so
right. I want Backlash with the hooks. Somebody said I would bring back No Way Home. Spider-Man coming out, No Way Out. He corrected himself. Give me Slamboree in a baseball stadium as a special every couple of years. That would be dope with the legends.
Not bad.
Hubbard took the glasses off for December. Bring back Armageddon or Vengeance. I didn't want to bring Braun back. He's better than almost. Somebody said.
You know what? I'll give him that. He is better than almost. Yes.
Now, Matt Lopez had a comment, and I'm going back to it because I wanted to use this as the transition comment here for the last topic. We probably got 5 minutes or so to get into this. Mm-hmm. Does this War Games lead to the split of Sami and the Bloodline? And that's kind of what we wanted to talk about for this week.
Good job. That was our last topic. Who brought that up? Who was that?
Mr. Matt Lopez.
Big up to ML. Yes, that's the last subject on the docket for tonight.
Yeah, Sami Zayn, he's been hanging out with the Bloodline. I love that he was at the press conference knowing daggone well he is not allowed to go over there. Like, he's probably the one person who gets paid, and they're like, you don't have to go over there. You're fine. Don't worry about it.
Right.
Because he's Syrian. So you could look up the political reasons why on that. But the Bloodline's strong right now. Everybody's got a title. Even Solo Sikoa. He's walking around with the NXT North American Championship. Sami is out there right now. He's out there hanging with my dog. So, what do you make of this, Sean?
Well, I got to go on record as saying I was wrong and you were right. Sami Zayn has turned out to be a tremendous addition to the Bloodline. He's super entertaining. I thought it made no sense at first. Big up to you, Conrad, for calling it a long time ago before the rest of the world picked up on it. I have now picked up on it. I think it's awesome. To answer the question about whether Survivor Series will be the end of the Bloodline as it relates to Sami Zayn, I don't know. I'm more leaning towards the fact that Sami Zayn might eliminate one of the Bloodline in the Royal Rumble, which could lead to the problem. That's more the route I'm taking.
See, I think you give him he's one of the last ones in there. Maybe Roman gets DQ, Roman gets kicked out of a Survivor Series match, and then Sami's the last one in there. But you see those old shades, bro. I'm telling you, Sami Zayn from NXT, he's bouncing off the ropes like, yo, this dude can do all this. He does the dive in between the bottom one to the DDT, and the Usos see it, and eventually the Bloodline's going to have to beat him down. I think you even give him the 24/7 championship. That way, this is the best way to get rid of it. Roman could throw that thing in the trash after and be like, this belt doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
Or I'm not defending these.
I mean, you don't want Sami to be the only member of the Bloodline to be
honorary Uso.
Exactly. You don't want him to be the only guy without a belt. But it's like you can't just throw on the IC belt or the United States belt just because. So I think that's a good idea on your part. Give him the 24/7 title.
Facts. Yeah, I'm interested though. Sami Zayn, like I said, is the biggest star that they have right now for WWE. I think you could do some really great stuff with him. Even tease something maybe with him in KO. Mm-hmm. You can do it in this. Marcus said Braun has no respect for wrestling outside of WWE. Braun, I will agree with that. That's one of the reasons why I was like, yeah, I can't co-sign him. Theory, Sami betrays Roman against Karrion Kross. Timeline shift takes place there. I don't see that happening.
I don't see it happening, but it's a cool concept.
It is. I could tell Roman loves Sami. Yeah, WrestleMania LA. I think that's where we're going to get the big tag title match with the unified belts. And then hopefully we start seeing some of those new championships Triple H created because
one more quick theory, my brother. One more quick theory. All automatically assuming that Sami Zayn's going to kick out of the Bloodline. And let's be honest, that probably is what's going to happen. But there is a small chance that Jimmy and Solo and Roman and Paul like Sami so much that Jay is the one that either has to get with it or get kicked out. There's a small chance.
I think that's going to be teased, but I don't think that's what will end up happening. Okay. I still think the Usos and Solo will put the beat down on him really bad to where KO has to come save the day. Okay. Like I said, I love the build where they're going with this. You could do so much dope stuff, and I appreciate everyone who's in here rocking with us. Thank you guys so much. Don't forget to hit that like button if you're watching on YouTube, and if you're listening on the audio versions, leave us 5 stars. It helps. Please. Helps Hubbard Wrestling, helps everything pro wrestling. Hook us up. Hawk says, I think Sami and Kevin are on opposite sides in the match. Sami will get in trouble when he hesitates to eliminate KO. Could be. If it's not Sami, it'll be Karrion that destroys the Bloodline. Remember, the hourglass is running out for the Bloodline. Could be.
Well, who knows?
We got a pretty jam-packed Monday Night Raw tonight. Don't forget, they're kicking off the show with Seth Rollins versus Bobby Lashley. They're trying to make that United States Championship mean more. So you've got that coming up. Sean, you've got a big announcement. So why don't you carry us out here, man? Let them know your announcement. And, yeah.
Well, look, I'm really excited. I want to thank Conrad will never agree to this, but I'm saying it without his authorization. This is his platform. Yes, we're doing the show together. This is his platform, so thank you. But Clash of the Podcast is its own entity. Don't get it twisted. Got Hubbard Wrestling Weekly, got Everything Pro Wrestling, and we have come together for Clash of the Podcast. But I do appreciate my brother sharing his platform with me. Don't get it twisted. He'd never admit that. He'd never admit that, but I'm saying it out loud, so thank you. But yes, Hubbard Wrestling Weekly is going to be bringing you guys some tremendous boxing stuff coming up in the next month or so. I know the world's talking about it. Logan Paul, is not the only guy with a big fight coming up. His brother is going to be fighting Anderson Silva, and that's going to be a Fight TV broadcast. And Hubbard Wrestling Weekly is going to be the exclusive home for its official preview show. And not only that, Hubbard Wrestling is also going to be the home of Deontay Wilder's return to the ring and that preview show. So make sure you check Hubbard Wrestling Weekly on social media. Make sure you check Clash of the Podcast social media and every point in between, including EPW. Once again, big shout out to my brother Conrad. Big shout out to Fight TV. 2 major fights, and both are going to happen on Fight TV. And both are going to have the official preview show through the Hubbard Wrestling Weekly platforms. Make sure you look out for it. Actual dates coming up within the next 48 hours. So check my social media, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram.
Yeah. So make sure you guys are out there supporting. He has a YouTube channel. Just type in Hubbard Wrestling Weekly. It's going to pop up. You're going to see all the boxing reviews, the wrestling reviews. Everything's up there. So make sure you guys give him a subscribe. Also, like his videos, listen to the audio versions, and do the same for me, man. It helps out. That's why we came together to do this podcast, and we are happy to do that for you. And everybody is sending you some love. You are both doing a great job. Thank you, Boost Mobile. Thank you for that. No show without you guys. So when you guys come in and you want to talk wrestling, that's what makes it even better. The comments are great. We appreciate you guys. For myself and my co-host, my partner in crime, my numero uno, Sean Hubbard from Hubbard Wrestling Weekly, we are out. We will catch you guys next week with another episode of Clash of the Podcast.